Welcome to the Alpha Pickleball Podcast, where we slice through the noise to bring you the juiciest insights, strategies, and stories from the dynamic world of pickleball. Join us as we serve up engaging conversations with top players, coaches, and enthusiasts, giving you an ace perspective on all things pickleball. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just stepping onto the court, get ready for a volley of knowledge that'll elevate your game to alpha levels. Let the rallies begin.
Welcome again to the show. I'm your host, Tats. And today our guest is Connor Garnett, pro pickleball player, college tennis standout. Connor, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Excited to be a part of it.
Awesome. So tell me, I'm going to dig into your tennis background because I love the tennis side, and then we'll go to the pickleball side, which is awesome. But yeah, so you were, very successful as a tennis player. You went into college. And I was digging around because you played in the West Coast Conference, so did I. And
Okay.
I noticed that you won the Sportsmanship Award.
Yeah, I have in college tennis was always very good with the line calls, and so that year my coach submitted me for it, and it just was fortunate enough to be able to win it. But I think it was something like I didn't get overruled that year, and so it's always tough because you're wanting to win and finding that balance. You have to make sure that you toe that line carefully. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to win it, and it was pretty cool to be able to represent our tennis program with that.
Yeah, and I know you told a story about your dad. Can you tell me about that?
Just with the sportsmanship and all that. Yeah, so just in juniors, that was kind of the one thing that he was big on. You know, if I in boys 12s tennis, there were always some questionable line calls naturally, and then most people grew up out of them. But I think even in that, he kept me very accountable for those line calls and just made sure that you won the right way. And so I was able to carry that over into college sports and into pickleball. And just, I think it's super important to win the right way. And I mean, you never want that asterisk next to the win. So the better you are with the line calls, the more you can let your play do the talking.
Yeah. I have a few more tennis questions into pickleball, but for people that don't know college tennis has different rules than regular tennis because even the pro game because of the questionable calls.
Yeah, no, the serve let you have to play because there was some questionable calls on people just saying, "Oh, it's a let" on big points,
Yeah.
and then the no ad scoring. So it's just a pressure cooker of a lot more intensity and a lot more fun.
Yeah, and I was when I was sort of prompted your sportsmanship award to think, hey, look, one of the other things that are different in college tennis is, in regular tennis, it's quite quiet relative, but in college tennis, it's quite rowdy. And I remember that I guess pickleball is more like that. So I wonder if that prepared you in any way.
Yeah, I definitely did. I would say it's just getting used to that kind of heckling a little bit. The nice thing, college tennis, when I was there, the rules changed a little bit, so you couldn't be as aggressive towards players. But yeah, definitely you got to get used to people cheering against you and stuff like that. So prepared me and built up the mental strength for sure.
Yeah. So when I hear you, play, you don't participate in that, but I know that happens. I know I was taught that that was more of a distraction to your own game, and unless you were McEnroe, that you were going to play worse. But I don't know about some of these pickleball players; they seem to play fine with heckling and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's gonna have their kind of style, and heckling is part of the game. If you like, I think there's a way to do it respectfully, and so there's a good amount of players that I don't mind it if you're going like aggressively personal, but if you're giving a little trash talk, fair game. Basketball, everyone's saying a lot of crazy stuff, so you got to be able to deal with it. And as long as it's not like too personal, or it's not middle of the point fans shouting at you, part of the sport. And so, it happens.
Yeah, yeah, makes a lot of sense. Now, on your PPA profile, it said that you're the hitting partner of Novak.
Yeah. So I was in 2019 and 2021, I was a hitting partner for the US Open. And so I was able to I hit with Novak, and I hit with Monfils, Halep, a few of these, but I think there's a video of me on YouTube where I'm playing with Djokovic, and I'm so nervous that between points I just am pacing. And so you will literally not see me stop moving. He's like talking to his coach in the corner, and I'm just like pacing back and forth, just like freaking out. But it was a super cool experience and had a ton of fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, what did you learn from that? I mean, because the average tennis player goes up on the court to practice and then sees what's not working that day and works on it. Or last match, I mean, what sort of things did you learn from Novak in terms of his habits?
Yeah, I mean, I think most all the pros kind of how they hit is they do an hour session with either they have a hitting partner, or they get one of us in there the day before a tournament, and they just really hit every shot, kind of go through it, play some points at the end, get everything going. And then before, it's like a 30-minute just warm up. But you'll see the top players, they don't go and hit like 30, like 30,000 just one shot. They are confident enough in their game where they just want to get the feel of the ball. And so you see kind of a big disparity between those top players and then that next tier where they're hitting a lot of one shot. And it's honestly a lot tougher to be a hitter for those like 30 to 80 tennis players, because you're doing like three cross court forehands, one down the line or something. And then if you miss that one down the line, they're getting pissed at you because they need to get that rhythm. So you see those top players, and maybe it's just because they have the reps, or maybe it's their confidence, but something about it is just, it's a lot easier to warm up with those guys than that kind of next tier.
Interesting. So, how did you find pickleball?
Yeah, I was pretty fortunate. I was got moved down to SoCal for work. I was supposed to start working in Seattle doing investment banking, and one thing kind of led to another. I had a friend, she actually worked operations at the US Open, came down to SoCal, and just had reached out to me on Instagram like, hey, let's play some pickleball. So played a little bit with her. One of my coworkers I played with a few times. And so I was kind of skeptical at first, but I just happened to have some people around me that got me into pickleball. And then once I kind of had my first defeat, that really inspired me to keep going and get better and look at, hey, there's a whole lot more to this game.
Yeah. I mean, at what point did you think that there could be more than just playing it and being competitive?
Yeah, I mean, I always knew kind of from my style of tennis that I was going to be pretty darn good at pickleball. And I always felt that, but leaving a job is another thing. So I kind of waited until I was signed to the PPA, drafted in MLP. Once that happened in kind of end of January of this year, I was like, all right, this is enough where I can at least survive the year on the funds I have and this, and we'll see what happens. I'm young enough to make a few mistakes, and we'll kind of run from there.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at your game, I mean, you've tried to maintain as much of your tennis as possible, it looks like. Whereas
Yeah.
I think some people kind of like give that up, but you've fought. Like, what's worked and what have to sort of change or give up?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of value in first strike aggression as long as it's very methodical. It's just slowly adding a lot more patience to the game. I mean, singles is a lot more one to one with tennis, so I would say I haven't given up too much in singles. Doubles is more, I have to really wait for that right ball to speed up. And I still can hit the two-hander out of the air, but other than that, like looking to get a one-handed flick is something that I've been working on, or hitting 5 more dinks, moving the dink around, all this stuff that's as well like just what's been important. I mean, it's just getting those reps of the pickleball shots so that you can start using those to set things up.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I noticed, like I think with the Hertz Cup, where
Mhm.
they were interviewing Lee Waters, and they were saying you guys play the grindy style and try to pick your spots. I mean, and you were speeding up a lot because obviously you don't want to get into a massive dink battle.
Mhm.
But what was your strategy going into that from your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, really, what I like to do is just be able to move the dink around. And so it's whether I'm kind of pulling inside out or middle with the forehand. It's just setting up something where we can attack and get into a firefight and find the opening. So it's, I think, just being aggressive with those dinks was kind of, being aggressive with the dinks and getting up to the kitchen line were kind of my two focuses in that match.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed, and I'm not sure if it's deliberate or not, is when you attack with your backhand, that you have the ability to kind of like reset it a lot better than your average player and just kind of bail on it and then kind of refocus. Is that one of the advantages of the two-handers, is be able to get out of that situation? Whereas I think a lot of other players with the one-handers, I see them just kind of, okay, we're here now, so we got to keep going. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I would say it's probably a little bit because it's a bounce attack as well, so I have a little bit more space. So if I know I hit it badly, I can hop back a little quicker. But you probably can't hit a one-hander off the bounce as well. So it is that two-hander just off the bounce that gives me a little bit of extra time in case it doesn't work.
Got it, got it. And then I guess, with the kitchen stuff, yeah, you're working on the one-hander stuff, but it's just your footwork has to be very good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the footwork is super important, but not overdoing it like tennis footwork. It's the pickleball methodical footwork that's so important.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, in terms of partnerships, what do you think about, compliments? I know you play with Christian Alshon and stuff like that, but what works well for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the energy on the court. You have to have someone that's there, willing to battle with you. And I mean, in Hertz, that was awesome. We fought till the last point. I've had some great matches fighting with Rafa, some great matches fighting with Edo. Like, it's just having that energy that is there that's going to be super important. Uh, and yeah, I think you just kind of start to pick up on who you can get along with on the court.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, in terms of I noticed that sort of, yeah, there was a profile where they mentioned woodworking as something that you like to do. So it's kind of random. So I thought I'd ask you about that. What's that about?
Yeah, I did like my great uncle, uh he lives in like Washington, and I would go over to his house when I was a kid and do some woodworking. I made like a little bench, I made a pen out of wood and stuff like that. So when I was a kid, I loved to kind of go over there and make little things. I was always very creative with that stuff, and so just building, whether it's like those type of things or just cool appliances for the house, I would do some woodworking there. I haven't done it in a long time, but yeah, that was definitely something that was awesome that I love to do. And just because I was in Washington, it worked out that I was able to do it quite a bit.
Nice. Working with your hands. That's awesome. All right. Well, pickleball is a game of using your hands a lot. I mean, how do you approach training? I mean, where do you focus your time?
Yeah, I would say it's starting to get refined now, but when I started, it's just getting as many reps as possible, getting out there, playing games, getting match ready. Then it's all right, where are my weaknesses? Doing some drilling. So now I try and do couple hours of doubles, couple hours of singles, whether that's playing, drilling, it just kind of depends on what's needed for my game and where am I going to feel the most confident for the next tournament.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Now, if you know, when you're coaching someone or advising someone that's coming up and getting better, I mean, what should people know about playing your type of game, like tips or things? Because sometimes, you can see things on a camera, but maybe they're just not obvious. But I mean, what are some of the keys of making your game work?
Yeah, I would say being able to know when to I'm sorry, being able to know when to attack and when to defend is super important because obviously I attack and get them out, but it's I try and be as methodical as I can on when to do it so that when I do it, I can go all out on that. And that's going to be super important. And then just, yeah, being aggressive on all the shots. It's whether it's the drop, whether it's the dinks, whether it's any of those, like that's going to set you up to attack even better as well.
Got it. So basically, using every opportunity to get better at attacking, right? And of course, being methodical by applying pressure all the time, because you don't want to get drawn into a long sort of battle of like dinks or something like that.
Yeah, and the real aggression comes in the shots that don't produce the winner. And so that's what a lot of people will kind of overlook. It's like the reason I can attack that ball is because the two shots before set me up to get an easier ball on that.
Got it. So like 3-shot combos. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I mean it's all not trying to win the shot on the first one. And you can even with like an off the bounce attack, like there was probably zero that I won just off that against Dylan and JW in that match, where it's that one to set up the next one. Hopefully that one wins it, but if that doesn't, then the third one should win. And if I don't win on the third, I probably need to reset.
Yeah. And one of the foundational stuff you have is very strong defense. I mean, is that a carryover for tennis, or did you develop that specifically for pickleball?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely a carryover from tennis, and it's just a lot of just using the legs and just really getting low. My style, when I'm coaching, I always preface it with, "Hey, this isn't for everyone," because I get very low, and not everyone can or wants to do that, but that helps me a lot on the defensive side.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's in the future. I mean, I guess one of the things they mentioned as strategy is being unpredictable, right? As you know,
Mhm.
do you train that in any way? Because part of attacking all the time is not being obvious. I mean, do you do anything particularly to sort of reinforce that in practice?
I mean, when I'm working on my speed ups, I work on hitting a lot of different spots and varying speed, uh, location, and just making sure the tells aren't too obvious. And so that's definitely super important when you're looking to speed up because as people get used to me, they get used to my speed up. So I have to keep adjusting to make sure that I can give them something new.
Got it. So and I know that, like for instance, Sampras's serve was super impossible to read on spins and stuff like that. How do you practice not giving tells? Do you video stuff? Do you look at it? Do you have a coach that or players you keep asking to see if, hey, did you know I was doing? Or is it just in a tournament and you catch someone? Like, how do you practice, that deception?
Yeah, I mean, you have to either figure out a way to keep your backswing the same or pick up on where people are sliding. And so it's either being so similar on all your shots or just being aware of your opponents and making notes. So you kind of do a little bit of both. So it's just having that awareness of your body and your opponent.
Awesome. No, that's great. I mean, so the next couple of years, where do you see yourself going, your game? I know you have entrepreneurial interest. Where's your mind at?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think pickleball is an awesome area. I want to keep playing as long as I can and figuring out exactly what I can do. I mean, I definitely want that PPA gold. That's something in all events that's kind of a big milestone. And yeah, definitely on the business side too, getting into that. I've been doing some camps, just building out kind of that brand. Tyson's done a good job on the camp side. I want to kind of do that in other areas and play into my investment banking background. And I never want to be too similar to anyone else. So I think I have a lot of ideas and I want to build something that's unique.
Ooh, I like that. You don't want to be too similar. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Cool. Thanks, Connor.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to the Alpha Pickleball Podcast with Tats. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, rate, and connect with us on social media. Stay alpha on the pickleball court. Until our next session.